Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your weekday morning show where we bring you the latest in everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about the correction on Bitcoin that is happening right now that is causing Bitcoin to drop below $100,000. It's not just Bitcoin. The United States stock market has been entering into a dive as well. And today we're going to be talking about that corrective movement, why it's happening, and where we are going to come from here. I'm very excited about what the month of January is going to look like for Bitcoin, but of course, this does place a bit of a concern on that rally. So today, we're going to be looking at this corrective movement, seeing where Bitcoin may bottom out, whether or not $100,000 is going to be able to be breached once again very soon. And most importantly, we're going to be answering some of your pressing questions about how we succeed in cryptocurrency markets. So without much further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. I'm joined today by my co-host, Little Alien, so shout out to him. And we're going to go ahead and read chat. Joe Bollier is in chat, said good morning. Good morning to you as well. Jose Vega's in chat. Blasnik is in chat. Philly Skills 1428. Bjorn BCY. Deefla's in chat. Miguel Rangel is in chat. Benny Barry, Seek Truth. Satam is in chat. Reference Air Solutions LL is in chat. Tundra Kryptoni. Kareem, Peter, Christopher Ryan, Chasse, Naes, Athmeek, and Brent Height Outdoors. What's up, Jeb? Tuning in from Arkansas. Shout out to Arkansas. Exciting times. I want to get started with a certain lesson. One of the things that I run into so often is not being really sure about how to actually keep the motivation. You know, when you've been doing cryptocurrency for 7.5 years like I have, there are times where you're like, man, this is awesome. My investments are riding. Everything's great. Sometimes it's easy to get complacent. And I don't like that. You know, like I've been blessed enough that I've done well enough. We've done well enough. God's blessed us enough. I've been able to take off the last couple of weeks and just kind of enjoy with my family. But, you know, every once in a while you're like, man, what do I do next? And what I've learned and what might be helpful to you is that we've got to make sure we're motivated about what we're doing in cryptocurrency for the right reasons. I have found that motivation that is rooted in greed, motivation that is rooted in pride, motivation that is rooted in envy, motivation that is rooted in covetousness, motivation that is rooted in keeping up with the Joneses, doesn't motivate for long. In fact, it actually is very unfortunate because it'll give you just a little bit of motivation to get started, but not enough motivation to finish what you started. So you end up frustrated because you got the plane off the ground, decided, I'm too bored to fly it, and you crash it. And you end up really hurting yourself. And I found with the channel, and I found with my investing in cryptocurrency, if I cannot connect what I'm doing financially to how somebody is going to be helped with that, then it's not something that I can stay motivated in, which is why the channel has taken so many certain directions that I've decided. I have to be able to rationalize how whatever it is that I'm doing is going to benefit someone, whether it be a member of my family, whether it be you guys that are watching. I have to see how that's going to benefit somebody, or I'm not going to do it. I was going to go into astrophysics, and I honestly could not see a way that I was going to actually help people in astrophysics. I'm not saying astrophysicists don't help people, but I just could not put two and two together and say, me doing this is going to benefit people this way. I couldn't figure it out. So I didn't do that, and I started the YouTube channel because I can see how teaching you guys about technical analysis and about Bitcoin and about money is going to help you. And so the reason I say that is not to boast. The reason I say that is to point out to you that it may be helpful as you're going in crypto, as you're going through your journey here in cryptocurrency, to try and figure out why you're here. Because you're not here to get to 1 Bitcoin. You're not. You're really not. You're not here to get to 10 Bitcoin. You're not here to get to 6.15 Bitcoin. You're not here for any of those reasons. You're here because there's someone that you want to provide for. You're here because you were hurt as a child and you don't want to see that happen to your children. You are here because you are stressed out to the nines and you don't know what to do. You're here for a reason, and you really need to make sure you stay in tune with that reason. Because if you don't, then not only will you not be able to justify to yourself why you spend so much time and money in cryptocurrency, you also won't be able to justify to anybody else who needs the explanation why you spend so much time and money in cryptocurrency. You've got to start with the why. So please, as we continue on here, make sure you've got that in the back of your mind. Why am I here? That's not a bad question. It's a good question. A question that you need a ready answer for. Let's get started. Bitcoin's currently trading at $98,500. It is down 3% over the last 24 hours. Yesterday, we watched a major rally occur on Bitcoin, and over the last 12 hours or so, we've watched that rally pretty much get decimated. This isn't something I'm particularly concerned about, though. On the hourly chart, we can see that Bitcoin went through a major rally. We dropped down here to $91,249. We then rallied 12.62%, $11,500 over the course of about 8 days, the last couple of days of 2024 and the first week or so of 2025. Over the last few hours, we have gone through a large corrective movement, and I believe that that's for a couple of reasons. Number one, we were looking at this uptrending level of support the last stream yesterday, which is now an uptrending level of resistance. This uptrend right here, as you can see, this uptrend now acted as our resistance. So that could mean two things. Either one, it could mean that we're going to break through it relatively soon and that it is going to be kind of the gateway back up to all-time high and beyond, or it could mean that this blue line that we see right here is actually our new ascending level of resistance, and we're going to respect it rather than the previous ascending level of resistance. And if that's the case, we could still be looking at $130,000 by March. It's a more conservative uptrend, so honestly, that would be the more healthy option for Bitcoin. Although when Bitcoin goes into blue sky breakout, it typically doesn't do the thing that's healthy. It typically doesn't do the thing that is the most responsible. Bitcoin typically just freaking explodes. So I don't think we're going to stay below this blue line, but for the time being, we are. Bitcoin has still, on the daily chart, seen multiple bullish signs. We saw the bullish MACD cross a couple of days ago. Our very own crypto Jeb oscillator is green. We are moving into the bullish direction. If you guys don't know, we created an indicator with Lux Algo. You can see it right here. Crypto Jeb oscillator, which is phenomenal. It helps us to see the strength of the bulls and the bears, which is just extremely helpful. We've got our RSI here, where Bitcoin rallied up to 62. It's now dropped down to 52. So major drop over the last 24 hours that's definitely causing people to shake in their boots a little bit. The good news is, though, we do still have that buy signal coming in from Lux Algo. That buy signal on Lux Algo is very helpful because it has confirmed, and we would have to drop quite a bit for that to be invalidated. If we take a look at some of the Fibonacci's here, though, we'll also be able to tell why we rejected here. Now, having not looked at the Fibonacci, I can look at this chart, and I can tell you what it's going to say. Can you see what I'm going to see? Do you see what I'm talking about? The Fibonacci level that we're about to discuss, can you see it? Can you see it? I can see it. That's a take profit. That's not a Fibonacci. Boom. This is exactly what you could see. We stopped right here. We stopped exactly on the Fibonacci resistance. We stopped at exactly the 0.618 to 0.65 Fibonacci golden pocket. When you've been in the market for long enough, you can basically see that this, I mean, not even long enough, you can just kind of see it if I point it out to you. This is about 2/3 of the way back up here, right? It's kind of obvious. Like this distance right here between there and there is about 1/2 of the distance between here and there, which means that this rally right there is sitting in the Fibonacci golden pocket. The Fibonacci golden pocket is a very important level of resistance that every market has to break through after it concludes a downtrend, and it is generally a difficult level to break through. Now, the good news is when Bitcoin rejected off of the Fibonacci golden pocket and off of this blue uptrending level of resistance yesterday, we've dropped back down to the inverse of phi, which is 0.382. Remember, phi is 1.618. The inverse of phi is 0.618. The opposite of the inverse of phi is 0.382, which is this line right down here on the Fibonacci. So 0.382 is the opposite of 0.618. You add both of them together, you get 1, right? So they're on opposite ends of the middle line, which is at 0.5. So they are kind of correspondent there. When you look at that level, that is the second most important level on Fibonacci. This one right here, the 38.2% retracement, or the 0.382 level. And so Bitcoin rejected off of the 0.618 to 0.65. This is our Fibonacci golden pocket. And then we've dropped back down here to 0.382 in a resounding drop that has dropped us back below $100,000. This is excellent. Let's just pause for dramatic effect there. Mainly just so I can fit some coffee in. This is excellent. Does anyone know why? Like, why is this so excellent? Tell me in chat. Why is this a great thing? This red candle. Why is this awesome? I love it. The reason this is excellent is because it's maintaining the exact same maturity, responsibility, care, call it whatever you want, that we've seen throughout the month of December, the beginning of January here. Bitcoin is being very mature. Just a few days ago, Bitcoin turned 16. Isn't that crazy? Bitcoin turned 16 years old. Whew! We're growing up, guys. Bitcoin's growing up. It sounds... we used to have a substitute teacher in middle school, and then when we went to high school, the substitute teacher also went to our high school, so we're like, this lady's just following us. And she'd just walk around, and she'd say, "You're all scholars." She had this really, like, heavy, ironic British accent. "You're all scholars." I have no idea how to say it. "You're all scholars." And she'd say, "That's very mature of you," right? Bitcoin is very mature. Bitcoin is acting very mature because it's taking this correction. Bitcoin needed it. I don't want Bitcoin to blow off the top next month, because there is a scenario where that could happen. There is a scenario where Donald Trump gets inaugurated, passes some kind of executive order on day one, and Bitcoin goes straight to 200 grand. It could totally happen. Bitcoin on the exchanges is disappearing. Donald Trump is coming into office. We have a pro-cryptocurrency Congress. We're about to have a pro-cryptocurrency prime minister in Canada. We've got so many bullish fundamentals. There's no reason that Bitcoin couldn't just absolutely blow the top off next month and go to hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then here's what it would do. It would probably crash in a blazing ball of fire, and the bull market would be over. That's not what we're looking for. We're not looking for Bitcoin to go through the entire rally all at once and then crash. No. It's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a slow, steady accumulation. We're looking for the maturity of Bitcoin to grow. I don't want to see Bitcoin go through 65, 70, 80% bear markets anymore. I love Bitcoin, but that's honestly a downside. It scares people away. It's not very, how should we say, mature. I mean, think about it. When you ask somebody define maturity, like in a person, define maturity. How do you define maturity? I would say that tell me in chat. I would say that a mature person is someone that I can trust. I think trust and maturity go hand in hand. And I would say that someone who is mature is not volatile. They can take a lot of input and their reaction doesn't change much. That's how I define maturity. You can walk up to them and slap them, and they're still going to be kind. Now, they might leave, like, not going to sit around and get slapped around, but their reaction is not, they're not going to fly off the handle, right? They're not going to be volatile in the face of new stimuli. They're going to be the same In one sense, Bitcoin is the most mature asset, the most mature store of value in the history of mankind to be mass adopted to this point, which is that it does not change from a code standpoint. From a fundamental and technological and mathematical standpoint, it changes almost zilch. From that standpoint, it's always been incredibly mature. That's why it's always had promise, was because of that maturity. That being said, the price action is sometimes incredibly immature. Sometimes the price action is incredibly immature because we will drop 80%. I don't want to see that. What I want to see is Bitcoin being more consistent. Wealth gained by vanity will soon be diminished. Where have we heard that before? Wealth gained by vanity will soon be diminished. Now, Bitcoin obviously was not gaining this wealth necessarily by vanity because it deserved to be worth $69,000 a coin. It just gathered it a little bit too quickly, so we ended up having an 80% bear market, 78% bear market, right? What I'm looking for more so is a more slow and steady gradual approach. And so everything that Bitcoin does, even down to the shorter term timeframes, has got to play into that. And what we're seeing right now of Bitcoin going through a correction right here, fine with it. Totally fine with it. What we're seeing is some liquidation. Some people are getting liquidated. We can go ahead and look at CoinGlass. Let's pull CoinGlass up here. Pull up CoinGlass. These coffee stirs act as a straw. I'm blown away. Technology's gone so far, guys. It's crazy. Liquidations here. You can see there's a little bit of liquidation going on. Actually, not as much as I thought. That's encouraged. That's exciting. That's very exciting. Little bit of liquidation. A little bit of long liquidation. In the last, let's see. Yeah, okay. So about $22 million in the last hour has been liquidated on the long. So a little bit of long liquidations going on, but not much. I think people are mainly just taking profits. Guys, we're still in this catchment area around $100,000. We have still not confidently broken through it. It's a little bit like in the movies. You know, in the movies where they got like a shield, like an energy shield, like a force field, and you like walk through the shield and you got to like climb through it. That's basically what Bitcoin's doing right now at $100,000. Like just kind of push through the shield. It's not going to be it's not necessarily going to be this super easy thing. And look, we could be totally off about January, and Bitcoin could be building a head and shoulders pattern here that's going to crash us back down to this red zone. But I think in general, we're going to see a lot of bullishness coming. We've got Sailor buying Bitcoin. We've got the United States about to buy Bitcoin. We've got a ton of different nations about to buy Bitcoin. We have the supply on exchanges just collapsing. I saw a figure recently that the amount of Bitcoin on exchanges dropped from 2.7 million down to 2.1 million in like the last 60 days or so. Very quick. A lot of people moving cryptocurrency into cold storage, which is phenomenal. That generally represents people that are hodling their coin and have no interest in selling it anytime soon. So all the metrics are looking extremely bullish right now. So let's read a little bit of chat and we'll keep talking here. I really appreciate that. Everything getting decimated now. Yep. Let's see. Outdoor inauguration. If anything happens to him, I'm selling 50% instant. So to be mature, you don't defend yourself, lol. No, I didn't say that. I'm saying that someone who is mature does not change because they don't lose their character. Someone who is mature doesn't lose their character. Someone who's mature is not going to scream at you whether you are nice to them or whether you slap him. He's going to be calm, and that doesn't mean he's not going to react. Obviously, he's going to, but there's going to be a calculated response. If somebody walks up to you and slaps you, you shouldn't stay there and keep getting slapped. But you also shouldn't fly off the handle and start calling him every name under the sun like you just walked off the warship. We've got to have some maturity individually, but also my point with that was to say that maturity is in a lot of ways the opposite of volatility. And so as Bitcoin matures, it will lose some volatility, which means the gains may still be the same, but hopefully the corrections won't be quite as bad. Someone said Trump just cough. Poor guy. No cycle has ever ended January after halving year. Yeah, no, it's never happened. Bitcoin is in good shape. Stability, making good choices. These are all good answers. Bitcoin filled yesterday candle, hardly a crash. Exactly. It's not a big crash, guys. It's not. Someone said, this is a hot take. Steadybug said, lol, Trump is priced in already. If he doesn't make a reserve, then the run is over. Who agrees with that? I'm going to put a poll in chat on that. if Trump priced into Bitcoin, if no let's see. Trump priced into Bitcoin. If no Bitcoin reserve, then the bull runs over. What do we think? That's a good question. That's a good question. I don't think it's over anytime soon. But yeah, some big guy's about to be brutally liquidated. Probably. All right. Let's take a look. Pew Pew Poom 2 wanted me to look at the monthly chart RSI. It's a good answer. Let's take a look at this. Monthly chart RSI is in very good shape. This is one of the reasons that we're actually very confident that the bull market is not over, and that there's actually a lot of room left to go on said bull market. And that would be largely due to the fact that bull markets typically top out on RSI up here at like 90. Bitcoin has gone up to 75 on the RSI. That's a very, very low figure compared to where we've been before. When we were here last on the RSI, it was approximately at these vertical lines. The first blue line here, right? We were more or less right here when Bitcoin's RSI was at this level last. This was the month, November of 2020. November of 2020, that Bitcoin hit $20,000. Bitcoin went 3x above where it was then. If Bitcoin did that this time, we would go to $300,000. Actually, it went 3.5 times higher, so we'd go to $350,000 if last cycle's performance repeated itself. There are diminishing returns, but again, our prediction is $150,000 to $250,000. There's your diminished returns. The second to last time RSI was at this level, Bitcoin was trading at $1,000. Bitcoin would 20x from there. So again, the diminishing returns, we look at a 20x, we look at a 3.5x, maybe we look at a 2x or a 2.5x from where we are right now. That's $200,000 to $250,000 very much in the cards as a result of that RSI figure here. Very simple. And yeah. And obviously, we've got to pay attention to, you know, here's another chart that you guys need to see if you haven't already. This right here. This is our rainbow price chart indicator. You guys have seen this before, and it is basically a logarithmic ascent here that shows us the general price of Bitcoin, and it is quite accurate, right? We've got a long way to go to get to the top up here. If we did get to the top up here, we'd be looking, based on this model, at potentially, if we repeated what we did in the last cycle, probably about $350,000 by the end of this bull market. This is the rainbow chart available online with a calculation from October 2023. You can find this all over the internet. There's lots of other kind of charts here that we can look at. Let's see. Let me pull up some others. Let's look here. Look here. Yeah, no, there's a lot of different charts that you can look at, and the most important thing that we need to keep in mind is the fact that the bull market is based on fundamentals, and many of those fundamentals have yet to come to pass. Now, let's talk a little bit about some of our other analysis here. Part of the reason that Bitcoin is struggling right now is because the U.S. stocks are struggling. Ever since about the 18th of December, we've seen a corrective movement going on in the United States S&P 500, which, of course, kind of underpins all other markets. So if the S&P 500 is not performing as it should, then the rest of the markets are going to have difficulty performing as they should as well. And over the last 24 hours or so, we have seen another corrective movement on the SPY. Especially this morning, we dropped down from 597 down to about 590, which is about a 1% drop. Pretty large drop in the grand scheme of things. When you're dealing with a $35 trillion market, 1% becomes a large amount of money. And so with that drop happening on Bitcoin, with the S&P 500, that generally means it's going to be difficult for Bitcoin. I think what we're watching right now is this kind of interregnum period in between the election of Donald Trump and his actual inauguration. After the inauguration, I think we're going to have quite a bit more information about what the market's going to do. For right now, people seem to be quite a bit at pause. They know that Trump's coming. They pretty much know what he wants to do. He basically wants to double the landmass of the United States at this point, apparently. But wants to buy Greenland, take back the Panama Canal, and annex Canada. And people are waiting to see what's actually going to happen. Because there's a lot of talk, I think, great talk. But we need to see what actually happens. And so I think everybody's kind of sitting on their hands right now, thinking, what's going to happen when this guy takes office? So we need to see what's going to happen. And so I think that the public right now is watching and they're waiting. And we're in a holding pattern. And I don't think that holding pattern is really going to break until after we have the inauguration of President Donald Trump. We'll see what the stock market does in response to that. I think it'll be bullish. And then from there, we will see a lot more clarity. And so for the rest of January, I think you're going to see some bullishness, but I think some of that bullishness is probably going to come more weighted towards the end of the month. I think that you're probably going to see this holding pattern that we're in right now continue for a time. And then towards the end of the month, we're going to see more bullishness coming in after the inauguration. One of the things we also need to consider is that the United States dollar is growing aggressively and has been ever since the election of President Donald Trump. We've seen a 5.54% growth on the Dixie, the dollar currency index, since his election. And that makes sense. A lot of world leaders and nations consider Trump to be a leader that's going to hopefully bring strength to the dollar. Of course, the idea of Bitcoin underpinning the dollar actually strengthens the dollar because if Bitcoin is adopted as a reserve currency for the United States, that gives even further strength to the United States' economic engine, which of course would strengthen the United States dollar. So the Dixie's been on a major rally, making it a little bit harder for Bitcoin to go into a rally. Bitcoin rallied despite this in the month following the election, largely because of all of the rhetoric and promises that we're having come from the Trump team. But now that that's kind of died down and that's all kind of been priced in and people have kind of decided, okay, I guess that's what the future looks like now. And people have entered into this new state of normalcy, that this is just what's normal now. The United States government potentially adopting Bitcoin. Now that has occurred, we see that the growth of the Dixie is more of a hindrance to Bitcoin. Whereas before, Bitcoin was rallying despite the Dixie growing. Now Bitcoin is rallying, is having more trouble rallying because of the Dixie's rallying. And that's something that we can see if we bring up the Bitcoin over US dollar chart here. Pretty simply, you can see that Bitcoin was rallying aggressively despite the Dixie's rally, but now the Dixie has continued rallying, and a lot of the rhetoric that we've seen from Saylor and Eric Trump and Donald Trump and the entire Trump transition team, it's all been priced in. So the Bitcoin market is not able to rally despite the Dixie as it once was. And so that's something that we're going to want to keep an eye on, is the dollar currency index and how it performs. It's very difficult to make really concrete predictions about what's going to happen after the inauguration because we're entering into a new era in American politics that we have obviously never seen before. We've seen a presidency under Trump, but we've never seen this presidency under Trump. And so we're just going to have to see. The most important thing that I can encourage you guys to do is stick to first principles. It is very easy to get caught up in the news. And it's not wrong to follow the news. In fact, it'd be wrong not to. It's not wrong to know what's going on in the world. But what is also wrong is to not remember that it's not Trump being in office that makes you money. Right? We've got this bootlicking mentality going around in cryptocurrency right now. Like, oh, let's just bend down on our knees and kiss his toes. Trump's just a man. Let's not forget that. He's not God. And he's not the God King of America either. He's not the only individual in the United States government that is pro-Bitcoin, and he's also not the only individual in the United States government with power. So let's remember that Bitcoin is not going to go to $1 million because of Trump. It might get there faster because of Trump. It may be adopted quicker because of Trump. But Bitcoin being Bitcoin is the reason that it's going to go to $1 million a coin. It's not because of Trump. It's not because of Saylor. It's because of the sum total of everyone that's going to buy Bitcoin because of what Bitcoin is, which is the first thermodynamically sound, superconducting, super medium of exchange in the history of the world. Bitcoin is growing and will continue to grow because of what it is and because of its principles and because of the technology that has enabled the idea behind it. That's the first thing that we've got to remember. The second thing that we've got to remember is that any relationship is built on certain consistent activity. I'm married to my wife, and she's awesome. I would hate tomorrow if she woke up and she was different, because she's amazing. I love her just the way she is. I don't want her to change. Obviously, we all have things we need to grow in, right? But I don't want her personality or any of that to change. Your relationship with Bitcoin needs to be, in a way, similar. You don't need to wake up tomorrow and have a different relationship with Bitcoin or be different to Bitcoin. Newsflash, Bitcoin's going to be the same in every area except price tomorrow. It's not going to change a bit except price. It'll change in price. That's it. You, however, may be volatile. You may change. We've got to remember the first principles, which is that Bitcoin is what Bitcoin is, and that's why Bitcoin is succeeding. But we've also got to remember that if we want to be a part of that, then there's a certain way that we have to treat Bitcoin. There's a certain way that we have to court Bitcoin. There's a certain way that we have to act around Bitcoin. And what I mean by that is that we need to be consistent in what? In our investment, in our research, in our technical analysis. More specifically, we need to be consistent in our planning. We need to be more consistent in our income so that we have money to invest in Bitcoin. We need to be out of debt. We need to be generous. We need to be financially sovereign. We need to make sure that we are making safe choices about how we're custodying our Bitcoin. We need to be treating Bitcoin correctly so that we can grow our relationship with it, so that we can have more of it. Just like any friendship. A friendship is built on trust. So, in a way, are you trustworthy to act correctly when it comes to your Bitcoin? Are you trustworthy to make sure it stays safe and doesn't get deleted because you weren't paying attention to it and your and your wallet got destroyed? Are you trustworthy to invest in it on a consistent basis? Are you trustworthy to have enough money to invest in it because you work hard and make money and because you don't spend everything that you have, which is what a fool does? These are the first principles that we need to remember. It's very easy to get caught up in the news, and it's fine talking about the news, and we do it a lot. But the thing that's less popular is less shiny, but what actually makes the difference is whether or not we are acting the way that we should be with our financial portfolios, which is being responsible and wise. So make sure to consider how you are acting around Bitcoin and cryptocurrency so that you can continue to succeed. Let's go ahead and read some chat. Really appreciate all of you guys for being here. Trump priced into Bitcoin. If no Bitcoin reserve, bull runs over. 62% of people said no. Surprisingly, I'm surprised by this. 38% of you said yes. Wow, might happen. All right. We've got a couple of super chats here. PJ Cornell donated $5. Thank you. Said, in general, all risk is just responding to liquidity. We're all just playing chicken with the Fed. In a sense, yeah. The issue is the Fed is playing a game where they have a finite resource. Bitcoin is playing a game where we have an infinite resource, and that's time. Bitcoin succeeds over time because of what it is. The Fed loses over time because of what it is. It's a little bit like the race between China and the United States of America. Many military planners have stated that China essentially has the rest of the decade to make a move on Taiwan if they ever want to be able to. If they're ever going to be able to stand up to the United States Navy, even on their own shores, they're going to need to do it in the next 5 years. After that, time's running out. The United States is getting stronger. Demographically speaking, China is getting weaker. Time is on the United States' side in that arena. Time is on Bitcoin's side, not the Fed's side. the Fed has to lay down cards that hurt itself. Bitcoin lays down cards that strengthen itself. The Fed has to put more money into the balance sheet. The Fed has to hike interest rates. All these things hurt the United States economy, so they can only do it for so long. Bitcoin lays down a card of, I got adopted by this country, I got adopted by this person, I got adopted by this company. And more Bitcoin is gone from the market, which means the price is going to go up, which means it becomes more attractive to more investors, which means more people buy it. It's a snowball effect because of the limited supply. It's Bitcoin's superpower. It's the trump card. Not Donald Trump. It is the trump card. Bitcoin doesn't need a Donald Trump card. It's already got a Trump card. I'm glad that Donald Trump's in office. I voted for him in 2020 and in 2024. And in 2016, I would have voted for him too if I was old enough. I was 16 years old. Is he perfect? No. Absolutely not. Far from it. But the bottom line is this. Bitcoin's succeeding because of what it is. So if the Fed wants to play chicken, it's actually more like the Fed's playing chicken with Bitcoin. That's what I would say. Shadrach Frost donated his super chat. Oh my goodness, member chat for 40 months. Shadrach Frost has been a member for 3.5 years. Thank you so much, man. Folks, let's hit that like button right away. I would also encourage everyone to share this stream and spread the FinSov ways. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's read some chat. When can we expect QE, Jeb? Well, now it doesn't make much sense for there to be QE right now. Generally, QE is coming with hiking interest rates. Hiking interest rates are not what's happening right now. We're seeing a drop in interest rates. The Fed more or less has inflation where they want it. Not quite as far, but so yeah, I don't see QE coming anytime soon. Quantitative easing is something that the Fed does when they purchase treasuries and mortgage-backed securities, and I can show you on this chart over here. United States Central Bank Balance Sheet, USC BBS. Quantitative easing is this chart. Right? It kind of looks like a chameleon. I don't know why. I always think this chart looks like a chameleon nowadays. This is the chart for basically what quantitative easing is. This is the United States Federal Reserve balance sheet. This represents how many assets they own. And essentially what the Fed does is in times of drought and they want to put liquidity into the market to stimulate the growth of the United States economy, what they will do is they will purchase treasuries and mortgage-backed securities. This is a way of injecting money essentially into the federal government and also into the banking system. And so the federal government, theoretically, through spending, and the banks, through the loaning out of money and capital, will disseminate money into the economy. So, stated another way, the Federal Reserve basically buys these two assets, treasuries and MBS, mortgage-backed securities, with money that did not exist. The money doesn't exist. They just say, I'm going to buy it and I give you the money. So the money comes out of thin air. It just poofs into existence. And so during the COVID-19 pandemic, we saw the Fed do this to the tune of $5 trillion, an enormous amount of, this is what they call printing. It's not actually printing. They're just buying and giving them monopoly money and calling it real money. Right? And so this money goes into the economy. So when you do that, you basically put $5 trillion of liquidity into the economy. The Fed can do it. They don't have to use the Treasury to print the money. They actually just do it themselves electronically. And then it's redeemable for cash. And so that's been tailing off over the last several months. We do have a little bit of an uptick right here, though. And so we might see a little bit. But in general, we've seen the selling off of treasuries and mortgage-backed securities. Generally, treasuries and in some senses, mortgage-backed securities, you hold them for a certain amount of time and then they expire. And so when they expire, a lot of times when the Fed gets the money back, they just delete the money again. And so we've seen the expiration of about $120 billion a month. I think that's been the rate for a little while here. About $120 billion a month for the last 2 years. And they're trying to get the balance sheet down. But because the issue is when you put money into the economy, naturally you cause inflation. Because there's more money to go around, prices go up. Supply and demand economics is kind of the basics of everything. So are they going to do QE? I don't know. I haven't seen anything on it. I don't know why they would be, but it is the Fed. So they very well could be, and I could be missing something. I don't know if they said they're going to be doing quantitative easing. I don't recall them saying that. But yeah. So right now we're doing QT, which is quantitative tightening, which is the shrinking of the balance sheet. All right. I've been trying to super chat, but it won't let me. That's weird, Kryptoni. I'm sorry. The funny money gets debased and all things look like they're growing. Yeah, pretty much. Is it true the United States government is going to be giving out stimulus checks? I certainly hope not. I certainly hope not. The long-term plan of the Fed is to back U.S. Treasuries with crypto. Stablecoins will buy USTs, and Elon will bring Meli-esque reforms. Crypto and USTs will rise together. Supply of USTs decrease. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised at all. I would not be surprised at all. Yep. It would not surprise me in the slightest. Let's read a little bit more chat here, and then we're going to wrap it out. Really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Hey, before we read more chat, check this out. The 2025 Become a Whale competition is going on over on Blowfin right now. There's up to $200,000 on the line over here. If you've not already signed up for Blowfin, then you absolutely should. The link's in the description box down below. They have the very best of everything that you need to be trading in crypto. This is the place where everybody's trading right now. You're missing out if you're not here. They got all the markets that you can need. They got your fiat to cryptocurrency gateway. They got the spot markets. They've got over here your all your different markets here. You can do leverage even, right? You can do your leverage trading. You've got your futures. You've got all of it. Okay? So this is where you want to go. This is the market that you ought to be on. They've got every market that you're going to need. Coming over here to markets, you can see all the markets. There's absolutely tons of them. Perpetual, swaps, spot, everything. And right now, they're doing the 2025 Become a Whale competition, and there's a lot of traders over here that are making thousands of dollars of rewards. There's about to be another $40,000 unlocked in the prize pool. And so when you come and trade over here, you will be able to get access to some of that prize pool proportional to your trading volume. So the more trading volume you do, the more of the prize pool you're going to get. So you can see there's a bunch of different people over here. Different users that have done like 10 to 20, $30 million in trading volume. And they are going to end up getting pretty handsome rewards coming very, very soon. Right? For example, some of these guys, this guy's got, $11,000 coming to him as a reward. So make sure you go and sign up for Blowfin right now. Get access to all of this. Join in on the $200,000 prize pool that is almost certainly going to be unlocked very, very soon. There's going to be $200,000 distributed amongst the traders in rewards. So go over there, get some trading in, get some rewards. You're going to be glad you did. You're most likely going to get, depending on how much trading you do, I mean, you could easily get hundreds, if not over $1,000 in trading rewards very soon. So make sure to check it out. Kryptoni donated $20. Can we take a look at Caspa? It's been a while since we talked about it. Sure. Yes, we can do that. Can the U.S. Reserve really afford not to have a Bitcoin reserve, Jeff? No, they cannot. The United States will get left behind if they don't have a Bitcoin reserve. Oh, and someone mentioned, yes, Blowfin is no KYC, so check that out. Okay, so let's take a look at Caspa over here on CoinMarketCap. You guys know I'm a big fan of Caspa, and it is on a bit of a fire sale right now. We've been trading sideways for quite a time. The reason that I am pretty excited about Caspa is because of what it's trying to do. It's trying to do what Litecoin did, but it's trying to do it better. Litecoin has grown a dramatic amount, but it's kind of dead, honestly. Litecoin is trading at $100. It's basically been trading at $100 for a very long time. And the issue with Litecoin is that it's too similar to Bitcoin. So what I think Caspa is going to be able to do is going to be able to acquire a lot of the market from Litecoin and also acquire a lot of the market from what Litecoin could have had if it was better. Caspa is basically trying to be the silver to Bitcoin's gold. And it's got much faster block times. It's still proof of work. And honestly, I'm very excited about it. I can't say how far it's going to go. Obviously, it's a $3 billion market capitalization already, but it has been performing very well ever since it came to be. So make sure to check out Caspa if you've not already. The chart over here on Caspa, I suppose we could look at Caspa. The chart on Caspa is not as great as I would like. I'd like to see more growth here rather than just this kind of flagging pattern here. There's been a lot of bullishness over 2024. I would have hoped for Caspa to do better, and it is at kind of the bottom of the channel here. So if you're looking to invest, now would probably be a pretty solid time. One of the concerns that I have about Caspa is basically exactly what it's trying to do. It's basically its mission, right? Caspa is trying to do what Litecoin did and failed to do. Well, let's be honest, Litecoin failed for a reason. Why did Litecoin fail? And people are like, yeah, Litecoin didn't fail. Oh, really? Really? Litecoin didn't fail. Yeah, Litecoin's worth $8 billion. Yes, so it was worth $8 billion like 6 years ago also. Litecoin has not really done what it needed to do. You would have made a better return investing in the United States stock market than investing in Litecoin over the last 6 years. So that's awesome that it's got a lot of transactions, it's got some use case, but it's just not really growing as much as it could. So the issue with Litecoin is that it's not dissimilar enough from Bitcoin. It kind of sits there in the ugly middle, in the uncanny valley. It's not mass adopted like Bitcoin, and it's not as good at transactions as a lot of other coins. So why use it? You've got this branching effect, right? When cars were invented, horses stopped being used for recreation, for transportation. They were only used for recreation. Then cars were used for transportation, and the two kind of don't cross. You don't drive a car on a horse track, and you don't ride a horse down the road anymore. They kind of split into two neatly divisible categories. What happened in cryptocurrency is you have the split between medium of exchange and store of value, just like we've always seen in the real world. We've seen the split between gold being store of value, fiat currencies being medium of exchange. In crypto, we saw the exact same split happen, and Litecoin made the mistake of trying to play the middle. Litecoin made the mistake of trying to be the store of value and the medium of exchange. It doesn't work that way. We've never seen a currency succeed that does both of those extremely well. Bitcoin is not a great medium of exchange, and that's okay, because that's not what it's best at. The thing that it's best at is store of value. US dollar tether or US dollar coin, USDC, those are the ones that everybody uses for transactions, for medium of exchange. That's what everybody uses. So when we consider that fact, that's a big part of the reason why Litecoin didn't succeed, and that's one of the concerns I do have about Caspa. So I like Caspa, but I do have that concern. It has to be able to compete with all the other medium of exchanges, currencies, and I think that's why it maybe hasn't grown as much as it could have, is because it's trying to compete with all those other coins. So happy about it, like the project. That is one of the concerns I have. If you're going to get into it, though, it is a good entry right now. It is a good entry. All right. Okay. All right, really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. If you have not already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, check out our sponsors. Uphold is an excellent place to begin investing in the cryptocurrency space. If you've not already signed up for Uphold, this is a great exchange that you definitely want to check out. And the reason for that is that they've got all the cryptocurrencies that you're going to need. They are the very best fiat to cryptocurrency gateway in the game. And they also have a product called Vault, which is a great place to store your Bitcoin and your cryptocurrency so that you can, or your Bitcoin and your XRP right now, so that you can keep it safe. It is a fantastic place to store your cryptocurrency because it's the best of both worlds. It has the benefits of short-term of access to the markets, almost like you're on a centralized exchange, but it's actually a self-custodial solution because you have access to the two keys. So make sure you check out Uphold with the link in the description box down below. Also make sure to check out NordVPN by going to nordvpn.com/Jeb if you've not already. NordVPN is a phenomenal tool to help keep you safe while you browse online. So make sure to check out Nord with the link in the description box down below. As always, feel free to like, subscribe, stay tuned. More content is coming. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's stream. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good